Newzroom Afrika's senior politics reporter, Ziyanda Ngcobo, was watching all the proceedings and joins me now in studio for more. We are also joined via Zoom by political analyst Dr Levy Ndou. Good afternoon to both of you. Ziyanda, I'm troubled by this development because you have a member of parliament who is also the chief spokesperson of the official opposition in party, coming on air a couple of days ago to say the opposite of what Dr Hlophe told us today.
It's symptomatic of the fight that's happening within the party, right? And it echoes what Floyd Shivambu said when he referred to Nhlamulo Ndhlela and Duduzile Zuma-Sambudla as political scoundrels who are causing chaos within the party and are taking advantage of the age and gullibility of the MK party leader, Jacob Zuma. Earlier this week, Nhlamulo Ndhlela was clear that he had not seen such a letter. It's only circulating on social media. He even spoke to Hlophe about this, and he told Sompisi. In fact, let's play it. Let's not talk about it. Let's listen to what Ndhlela said earlier this week.
I've had a conversation with the party leader, Dr Hlophe, and party leader then said to me, in his response to say, Sompisi, he refers to me as Sompisi, my digital signature has been abused. And I pretty much left it at that. So effectively, I've never seen that letter in its physical form. I've never received it. And when I spoke to the deputy president and party leader in parliament, that was his response to me, that Sompisi, his digital signature has been abused. And I guess that in of itself is telling.
What's telling is that Dr. John Hlophe is basically, him and Makubele called him a liar, that he signed that letter. He had sent it to Ndhlela. In fact, his secretary also took a screenshot of the email sent to Ndhlela and talking about how when Nhlamulo Ndhlela arrived at that meeting, he was claiming that he didn't know anything about it and that if he is removed, this has to be affirmed by party president Jacob Zuma. Now, this something Hlophe mentioned as well. This is something that's new because all the decisions that have been taken here have never had to have been ratified by Zuma. In fact, I lead this caucus. I'm also a deputy leader of the party. So, and just last night, by the way, I spoke to Zuma at length about this. And also over and above that, if you need any communications, speak to any one of these 36 portfolio leaders that we've just announced directly, effectively saying that Nhlamulo Ndhlela will only speak on party matters, but nothing related to parliament. It's quite telling, given how earlier this week Ndhlela gave us a completely different account, which also reflects what parliamentarians in the MK party have been complaining about. They've complained that they've been shut out from doing media interviews, the party's stance on certain issues and portfolio committees have not been well represented, and that, going back to what has been described about Ndhlela and Duduzile Zuma-Sambudla. And so the tone today was, we mean business, we're serious, we come from different backgrounds. Some of us, yes, we weren't there and not part of the December 16th movement, but we're here to work, and this is what we plan to do. Reclaiming power is what Colleen Makubele had to say.
Dr. Ndou, I don't know what you make of these developments.
Well, good afternoon to you and Ziyanda and the viewers. I think this was a moment for the MKP to clearly draw the line that you have got leaders of the MKP who are not in parliament and those that are in parliament. And it was about looking at the responsibilities of those that are in parliament and those who are not. Mr. Hlophe used this press briefing to stamp his authority as the leader of the MKP in parliament. He also uses this press briefing to clarify misconceptions as indicated by Ziyanda, or things that are perceived as lies that were doing rounds in the media space. And what he has also tried to do was to say, when it comes to parliamentary issues, journalists or media personnel should feel free to talk to the people that are identified who are aligned to different portfolios. And I think what he also tried to do was to indicate that he has been able to communicate these decisions in Parliament with members of Parliament, and the previous night he had a discussion with the party leader. So he is trying to say that when it comes to parliamentary issues, as John Hlophe, he is in charge. When it comes to matters outside Parliament, Jacob Zuma, and to a certain extent the spokesperson, could also be deal with those issues. But for me, this is the step in the right direction, to know that with the MKP, in Parliament, this is how things are going, and outside Parliament, this is how things are going. And if this is the direction that the MK has to take, I think it's about building up blocks, ensuring that where do you have to go when you are confronted with any question that you might have.
The question, of course, is whether Jacob Zuma, the leader of the party, will indeed accept that Dr. Hlophe and Colleen Makhubele slander Khetar.
It will be a difficult one. It has just been proven that there is an element of a dishonesty on the part of some members of the party. But it is also confirmed that to a certain extent there has been consultation that took place. But if I take you back to what happened with Floyd Shivambu, he would talk about taking some actions or decisions, having consulted, but they also backfired. We are not sure whether the actions taken by Hlophe and the Chief Whip Colleen Makhubele could backfire. Some would see this as the stamping of authority by the Chief Whip and the Deputy Leader of the party. Some could also interpret it differently. They could be saying that they are taking away some of the powers from the actual leader of the party, and that could also come with their own consequences. It will depend as to whether they do agree on this known approach now, which could work better for the MKP. And that is what other political parties are doing.
Days before Floyd Shivambu was axed, he was so confident in that interview with you that nothing was going to happen to him, that Baba knew about his trip to Malawi, that Baba knew exactly what he was doing. In fact, I even said that Jacob Zuma was the one who sent him to Malawi to go and have conversations with allies, and even traced it back to a conversation he had with him in Namibia.
I mean, I guess with the Floyd issue, there are many who are saying he was clearly lying. But then again, this also speaks to, the leadership style of Zuma. And it's interesting to note that this briefing takes place just days before the national officials are meant to meet. I believe they're meeting sometime over the weekend, Sunday, somewhere in KZN, to discuss several issues. What's happening in Parliament, also what Floyd Shivambu has announced, because there's still been no official briefing or announcement from the National High Command or the national officials. And so perhaps then we don't know what will happen in that meeting and whether the tone will be different. It's one thing to talk directly between Hlophe and Zuma, but it's another when the officials feel that maybe this briefing shouldn't have happened. It might have been premature, or that they do have the backing that once, Zuma has ratified it, that in fact, this is the way to go in terms of how to manage the affairs of Parliament, given how there has been lots of criticism being thrown at the MK party. Say, you're in a official opposition. We're not sure what exactly it is that you guys are doing. It's either you're not doing anything or you are, but you're not visible enough in terms of issues that are affecting South Africans. You seem to be on the back foot. What's the point of having 3 former CEOs there in Lucky Montana, Brian Molefe and Siyabonga Gama, for an example? What exactly is happening there? But I think the other point here is how, Colleen Makubele was also very clear in trying to say, well, this whole thing that we only came after, this December 16 movement and after the election, like that must be done away with. We have different points of view. We come from different backgrounds. And I think it was also a way to respond to the issue of her perspectives on Israel, to say, well, you have a Bongani Baloyi who also came from the DA. He would have had particular views before, but now that we are under the umbrella of the Umkhonto we Sizwe party, we need to find a common purpose. So that was also one of the key highlights of that particular briefing, to also hit back at those who refer to the likes of Colleen as Abomafigizolo.
Do you think MK Party President Jacob Zuma has it in him, Dr. Ndou, to understand the 2 key points that Ziyanda just made? That one, it shouldn't matter when exactly you joined the party, and 2, this party has to make its presence felt, if for nothing else, for the people who actually voted for it and who want to see them bringing some change.
The deputy leader of the party, Dr. Hlophe, has confirmed that he had a very lengthy discussion with former President Zuma about the developments in the party. And we must not be convinced that he could be the only person who would have lengthy discussions with Jacob Zuma, because other members are also doing the same. But another thing that, in my view, we need to look at is that in the MKP, since its formation, nobody's position is guaranteed except the position of the party leader, Mr. Jacob Zuma. So anything can happen. We don't know the kind of information that he could be getting right now, prior and after the press briefing. So because the constitution of the party allows him to take decisions which also talks to deployments, we should not be surprised if we'll take a decision that certain people could be removed. But I think at the heart of the MKP should be an understanding of what Colleen Makubele said, that if they want to build a strong MKP, they need to avoid the us and them syndrome, because it appears as if those who have been there since the inception and those who appears to have been recruited, and whether like it or not, the party has to grow because it has to recruit new members. And if you recruit new people and they always feel unwelcomed, that could not be good for a party that aspires to grow and take over government. So those are the issues that, in my view, the MKP has to look at. But as the meeting is coming, I expect very sober minds and honesty on the part of the MKP, if indeed they still want to grow and become a big factor in the South African political.
Dr. Levy Ndou, Ziyanda Ngcobo, thanks to both of you for coming through. It is an interesting development indeed, but how the situation, of course, pans out we could well be a different matter altogether.